Amid ongoing police reform efforts in the U.S., Native American activists say they've often been left out of the conversation. But more than 3 years after the police murder of George Floyd, there's a renewed push in places like Minneapolis for awareness and change around law enforcement interactions with Native communities. Special correspondent Fred DeSam Lazaro has this report.
A recent rally in the heart of South Minneapolis' Native American community brought out high emotions and strong numbers. They were protesting the imprisonment of Leonard Peltier, an American Indian activist serving life sentences for the 1975 killings of 2 FBI agents. Peltier's supporters have long said he was wrongly convicted, and they consider him a political prisoner.
As long as Leonard Peltier isn't free, there's a piece that this system holds of every single one of us as Indigenous people.
Activists say the problems with that system are upheld by law enforcement authorities who regularly mistreat Native people. The vast majority of Native Americans live away from the reservation or tribal communities in which they're officially enrolled. They live in cities like New York, Albuquerque, or Minneapolis, meaning that most of their law enforcement encounters happen with local police. In Minneapolis, a city that became the center of a global racial reckoning after the murder of George Floyd, police interactions with communities of color remain under intense scrutiny. In June, the Department of Justice released its investigation into the Minneapolis police, launched after Floyd's killing. Among its findings, MPD unlawfully discriminates against Black and Native American people. Officers stop Native residents at almost 8 times the rate they stop white people. During those stops, Native people are at least 20% more likely to face searches or use of force. And the disparities were worse in Minneapolis' 3rd precinct, where George Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin and where many Native Americans live. That area, the DOJ said, is where officers referred to as cowboys wanted to work.
It didn't tell us anything we didn't already know.
We spoke to Vinnie Dion, Rachel Dion Thunder, and Jolene Jones, 3 Native community leaders with deep understanding of police interactions here.
As a young man growing up in this neighborhood, I've always dealt with the police. You know, it was always us against them.
The DOJ report specifically said that Native people are the most adversely affected, discriminated against, and abused by the Minneapolis Police Department, yet there hasn't been one listening session here in this community.
So basically it's just another report that says, hey, we're doing this to your people, but you're still invisible because we're not going to work with you.
They said residents in this area, known as Little Earth, rarely call the police. Wait times can be lengthy, and they want to avoid escalation with a department that, by their count, has only 4 Native American officers out of nearly 600.
When the police are called here, they're called because they're desperately needed.
I've been beaten by the police twice. Never once reported it. Out of fear of retaliation, because you are going to see these same officers again out here. They work your beat, you see them every day.
Minneapolis was the birthplace of the American Indian movement, founded in 1968 to improve conditions for natives living in urban areas. It grew into an international movement for treaty rights and the reclamation of tribal lands. It created the AIM Patrol, a citizen watch group whose goal was to help victims of police brutality.
And then here's where I got beat by the cops.
Mike Forsha chairs the American Indian movement Twin Cities. In 2002, he settled a police brutality case with the MPD for $125,000. Today, Forsha sees a community plagued by homelessness and substance abuse, and a police department focusing on the wrong issues.
This is what neglect looks like. Native Americans homeless in their own land.
Last year, Forsha and other leaders toured Little Earth with Brian O'Hara, the new police chief in Minneapolis. He also spoke at O'Hara's swearing-in ceremony.
We were planting seeds. Seeds of trust, seeds of accountability, seeds of transparency, seeds of community. But planting it is the easy part. So much damage was done to our community, not just by the police, but by the city too. And we have to make an accounting of what happened. And we have to have some restitution.
These issues are hardly unique to Minneapolis. Native American people make up less than 3% of the population in the U.S., but between 2010 and 2020, they were killed in law enforcement encounters at a higher rate than any other racial group.
It's updated, but yeah, this is the park that...
35-year-old Johnny Crow grew up in Minneapolis. He remembers bouncing between homeless shelters in a community grappling with cycles of poverty and violence. He also recalls his father getting roughed up by the MPD.
It's just the way they treat us, you know, you gotta be strong. That's kind of mentality I was taught. You gotta be strong.
Last fall, Crow himself was detained at a Minneapolis gas station after police said his car was connected to a wanted person. Crow was handcuffed and put in the back of a squad car before officers checked his ID. They accepted that the person of interest was actually Crow's cousin and let him go. Crow is suing the city and the officers involved, saying he was injured and traumatized during the unlawful stop and unreasonable seizure.
I remember as a kid being here in South Minneapolis, the police would hand me stickers, and I used to think like, oh wow, they're so amazing, you know, they keep us safe. Once I became a young man and I started to look like an adult, like a Native man, I was no longer welcomed. You know, I was more of a threat.
MPD said it cannot comment on pending litigation, but in a statement to the NewsHour, it said the department is planning a listening session on police reform with the Native community. And Chief O'Hara said, quote, "It is misguided to think that we will erase these disparities completely without correcting the underlying historic systemic injustices which have created the conditions that police are often called to deal with."
I'm hopeful that things will be different for my son. Because right now, I mean, my incidents with the police wasn't as bad as my father's. And if one day my son has a traffic stop or has an incident with the police, it won't be like mine.
What gives you that optimism?
It's, sorry. My belief, you know, being Lakota, we say, Wowichala, the ultimate belief. And I'm trying to instill that in my son.
Activists say the invisibility of Native Americans in the city is an enduring challenge, but as the future of public safety is charted here, they are demanding to be seen. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Fred DeSam-Lazaro in Minneapolis.
Fred's reporting is a partnership with the Undertold Stories Project at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota.